All right, friends, how's it going? Zig coming in at the top of the interview. Today I have Lea Marra. Lea Marra is a local singer-songwriter from Chardon, Ohio. She's one of my favorite local singer-songwriters. I really dig her style. I think you guys are going to as well. I'm going to play a bit of one of her songs off Bleeding Heart. This is Ghost. Alright, Ghost from the album Bleeding Heart. This is Lea Marra's latest release with the band Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers. She also played in a band called the Tom Katlees, and she runs a festival out of Chardon called Love Fest. Lea is also, at this time, so if you're listening and it's no longer COVID-19, and it's, well, I don't even know if that's a measure of time, but if the pandemic is not a pandemic by the time you hear this interview, this may not be a valid anymore, but Lea is offering lessons for guitar and ukulele. So if you're interested in learning and have the time, which depending when you're listening to this, you might have, check that out on her Facebook. I'll link everything below. And before we get into the interview, I also want to point out Lea's phone does this really cool fart sound, and it cuts out all the audio. So there's gaps in this conversation. And halfway through, I did a fairly good job of correcting it as we're going. So there may be a couple gaps where you hear part of a conversation, and then that conversation steered in a different direction. But at least the question and the content that was brought up is readdressed. But there's a little bit of a weird audio connection with this one, more so than any episode so far. So I appreciate you guys bearing with the technical difficulties, because Lea's got some really good inside scoops on the Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers and the Love Fest and secret upcoming projects, which he kind of talks about. I don't know. You got to get into it. All right, guys. If you hear anything you like, if you can like, subscribe, comment, rate, review the podcast on any of the podcast mediums, be it Spotify or Apple, it's really appreciated. It helps the artist that we are interviewing get their voices heard by putting the podcast up front where it needs to be. Also, Lea is playing Virtual Shows Cle May 15th, 8 p.m. Tune in with Brandon Postman. One more thing. I just got a phone call from Lea, which is impeccable timing on her part. Love Fest this year is going to do a stream festival. So they're going to have streamed live music. They're going to do vendors, art, and a raffle. And it's going to be a virtual experience of the festival we talk about in the interview. And it's an amazing festival, so this is really cool that they're finding a way to keep this going through the pandemic. And if you can, check it out by going to the links below in the podcast description for Love Fest. There's a link to the event and a link to the Facebook page. Both will take you to the festival when it happens. All right, here we go. Lea Marra. All right, here we go. Zig At The Gig podcast. I'm hanging out with Lea Marra. How's it going, Lea?
Going good. How are you, Dave?
Holding together. How's quarantine been for you?
It's been great.
Yeah?
Yeah, just kind of losing my mind slowly.
Yeah.
And binge watching Riverdale, which is an intense, weird teen episode thing.
Yeah.
What are you, TV show? That's the name of it.
That's cool. Yeah, I've been binging Community. Have you ever seen that show?
Community?
Yeah.
I think I have once. Isn't it about like community college or something?
Yep. I like through this whole thing, like I've been like, we've talked before previously because we've been studying for our board exam. So this is kind of hard to separate podcast and introduce you to the new people. But I've been pretty strict with a schedule as far as stuff to do to keep my that sanity slipping away ever so slowly, like we're all trying to do. But as of recently, I've been getting into like watching things.
Yeah.
And communities.
You become addicted. I'm addicted, and I need to not be. It's a bad thing.
Isn't it weird when you notice it too? You're like, oh, I gotta watch 2 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't, like, when I'm watching Riverdale, like, I'm an addict of Riverdale. I confess, everybody. And so like, I'm watching an episode, and they're each like 45 minutes long, and then all of a sudden it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh my god, I just finished season 2, and now I want to keep going.
It's so easy to do the binge thing. Like when the Marvel stuff came out on Netflix, I started to watch that, and you'd get kind of hooked into it. And each like there's that like 15 minutes at the end of that 45-minute thing that I'm gonna cut that.
No!
I don't know what it is with your phone, but it farts occasionally.
My phone's broken, and there's always a fart noise that happens. It wasn't doing this yesterday when we were studying.
Yeah, it was fine. It was
but
just
of course it's going to do it now.
Yeah, now that we're recording. It was only like at the beginning, and then it was smooth sailing.
It's like a... I can't even do it. No,
that's pretty good. It's pretty close. We'll compare it at the top.
Perfect.
But it's so weird how that stuff like hooks you in, and like, I don't know. Then when you're done with it, you're like, now what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid. Like, I'm going to have attachment issues.
With Riverdale. Has that been the only thing you've been binging? Or are you switching between? It's an all day process.
I'm ashamed to say.
It's all good. It's all good.
But, you know, YOLO, it's quarantine.
For sure. But you weren't quarantined the whole time. You had a gig for the first couple, maybe months,
I was
right?
I was working, and I made a choice.
Which is smart choice, or the wise choice. We don't have to get into the circumstances of it, but...
Yeah, I think it was a wise choice, too. So, I don't know. I think I might start Instant Cart. Would you go shopping for people?
Oh, yeah? That'd be kind of cool. Just go around being like, really? You need this many Doritos? All right, here you go.
I'll deliver all the Doritos if you want to give me cash.
That's pretty cool. I haven't thought about that.
Maybe I'll just drop CDs in there.
Just give little samplers along with your Doritos. Try the tasty sounds of Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers.
That's perfect. That's a way to get your music out there.
I think I think there was an internet story of a guy who was giving out his mixtape with like pizza orders. And,
yeah.
Wasn't that a thing? And it was like super vulgar. And like,
was it really?
It didn't work out for him.
Oh, poor guy. He had the right idea, though.
Yeah.
That's genius.
For sure. He was ahead of his time. And
he was.
You don't have to worry about too much vulgar stuff in the Dreamcatchers.
No, we don't swear and we don't talk about things. Well, I don't know.
I don't think there's any. It's an order friendly.
It's family friendly.
Family friendly tunes.
Not G rated, but maybe PG.
Okay.
Not even 13. Yeah, sometimes 13.
Fair enough. So bouncing to that wasn't your first project. That's the most recent project, is Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers. And
Correct.
I was thinking, when I met you, it was at a show at Mahal's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were playing with Michelle Gaw, and you guys were opening for Beams.
Beams, yeah, from Canada. And I've actually I keep in touch with Beams. They've actually stayed at my house a couple of times.
They've played Love Fest, right? The
They
last
played
one?
Love Fest. Not the last one, but the year before that, I think, or 2 years before that. So it's been a while, and they've come through Cleveland, and they hit me up when they come through. But yeah, so I was playing solo at that gig, and that was in 2015 because I came back from college, because I graduated. So I was here before everyone else was, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why I took that solo gig. And then the Tom Katlees, which is the other project that ended last summer. We were together for 8 years, and we were kind of on and off sometimes.
Yeah.
One of those relationships, you know. So we we would like leave for school and then not play while we were in school, because we all went to different schools and I was in a different state. They were in Southern Ohio, and Will was in a different state too. But yeah, so then when we would come back for summer, we would play, and then we would stop. And then we would come back and play. We were like a summer band, because we formed towards the end of my senior year. And then we were actually going to break up when I left for school, which we kind of did, and then we kind of didn't. It was weird. And then I kind of was like, well, guys, let's just keep going. And they listened to me. So.
Hey, it worked. But the Tom Katlees, at least that lineup wasn't the original lineup, or that became the Tom Katlees. The Tom Katlees was like your lineup that you had, and then some stuff added in between to the Tom Katlees, right? So like,
yeah, we had like a bunch of different members come in and out from 2011 to 2019 when we broke up. We at least had like 5 different people, different guitarists and bassists, because the original group was me, and then Joe Linsky, who's in Funny Business now, and Will
drums.
Porter, who lives in New York City, and then those was the main crew. We were originally like were we 6? No, we were a 5-piece.
Yeah.
With like 3 guitars.
Okay. An army of guitars.
It was crazy. Yeah, and then bass and drums. But and then as time went on, people left and came back in, and it was strange. Then Alex Mate joined our band in 2017, I think it was. And he played with us until the end.
Gotcha.
And then Will came back, because Will left for like a couple years, and then he came back to play.
Before he moved to New York.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he moved, and he was like, oh, I'm moving to New York, and then, you know.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with Will right before he moved to New York. We were playing Halloween at the Beachland Tavern. I was playing with All's Harvest that night. It was the Tom Katlees. And like it was
you know what, why don't I remember this gig? And multiple people have like brought this to my attention, and I'm like, what, we played on Halloween?
Yeah, or maybe it was like the day before Halloween. It was like, yeah, it was probably about 2 years ago.
Right.
Because it was right after, it wasn't too long after you guys put out the first Tom Katlees record with Alex.
So that we released that in November of 2000.
So maybe it was
2018.
It was sooner. Yeah, that's right, because it was November at Negative Space.
Is it going again?
Yeah, every time it does it, I'm going to pause and punch it back
Perfect, Dave. Yeah, please don't do the fart noise.
But, so this one might be a little choppy at parts, but we'll know why.
That's fine.
But because you guys did that, and that balloon's been up there at Negative Space forever. So maybe it was.
Yeah.
It was definitely after you guys put out that record that this Halloween show was. And I remember talking to Will, and he was saying how he was going to study chemistry or something, or engineering.
Yeah, engineering.
And like I can't remember, but I was like, cool, man, that'll be awesome. New York's awesome. You know, they got pizza and buildings.
Yeah, what a guy. We all kind of keep in contact.
That's good. And like
here and there.
Well, it's hard, especially when you've been together for so long and you're so used to kind of catching up and distant playing, it sounds like. But, like,
Yeah.
before that even happened, did you, like, start writing songs with any of those members before the band took off, or were you working on stuff by yourself?
No, I was working on stuff by myself, and I always wanted a band. So Joe knew that I played and I sang my own songs. Like, I would do talent shows at high school and
Gotcha.
stuff like that. So, like, they knew I was musical. So he's like, Lea, you want to start a band? We were in, like, the class of history, rock and roll, which was funny.
Nice.
And then he was like, you want to start a band? And I'm like, don't play with me. Like, I always want a band. Like, is this a joke? And then he's like, no, I'm for real. So then we started a band. And the way I confronted Will, like, I didn't even know Will. So I, like, saw him in the hallway, and he's like, he was 2 years younger than us. So, like, I was a senior and he was a sophomore. So I was like, hey, you. I was like, he's like, yeah. I was like, I heard you play bass. Like, you want to play in our band? And he's like, sure. And then I thought he gave me his wrong number because I'm basically dyslexic, I guess. And I, like, switched the numbers, and he wasn't responding to me. I was like, whatever, dude.
This wrong number isn't getting back to you. That's funny.
Yeah, but no, I like started off as a solo artist. My first gig was when I was like 12.
Yeah?
At a coffee shop.
Whoa.
Yeah, in Chardon. And
Which
like all
coffee
my
shop? The one you've been doing? Which coffee shop? The phone farted.
Arabica in Chardon, but now it's Buckeye's Chocolate.
Okay, so the one you've been doing stuff at.
Yeah, it's kind of funny and ironic. But yeah, and it's weird because this guy who lives in town, he saw me play when I first started playing. And Dave, he shows up like in the most random times when I'm playing. And it's just so weird. It's like, who is this guy? Like,
you don't know him? He just pops in. He's been at every... He's going to be the random Lea Marra fan that's at every show in the background and gives you random gifts. Like, here's a samurai. But that's crazy. Or he's a figment of your imagination.
Maybe he's like Frank from Donnie Darko.
Yeah. What was that first set like? Was it just some originals and a cover, or was it all covers?
Yeah, it was I think it was originals, like my 8th grade class. Some of them were there. I don't know. It was cool. It was fun. Actually, I think I was in 7th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've met a few people that have, started at 12, and that just blows my mind. Like, I didn't start...
Hey, I owe it all to School of Rock and Lindsay Lohan, man, for Freaky Friday. Not gonna lie.
That's awesome.
I was like, I need to do that. I need to play.
That's what did it?
And
Was seeing Lindsay Lohan rock out?
Yeah, that was my motivation. I was like, oh my God, I need to do that, and I need a band.
Was it what started writing songs? Like, that's awesome, because those are 2 of my favorite films. Well, okay, one for sure. Freaky Friday, I can't stand by, just because I don't think I've seen it. But I can definitely testify for any Jack Black film. And
yes,
School of Rock was one of them for sure.
Dewey.
What was his name? Dewey, Ed Schneebly.
Yes, Ed Schneebly
was the guy he impersonated. But like at 12, so you're inspired by these films. How'd you start playing the guitar, and like, did you just start writing, trying to figure it out, or did you like kind of like figure some stuff out?
So basically, I was playing piano when all this was going on.
Yeah.
I started playing piano when I was like 7, and I quit when I was 9 because I just was like bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, this is just, I don't want to practice. It didn't come easy, so I was like, eh. And then my dad played guitar around the house, and so like he kept his Ovation behind the couch, and so I would always like be like, what's this? You know, I was like a child. And then I like was like, I want to learn. And he was like, okay. So he showed me G, E minor, C, and D.
Sweet.
And so I basically practiced that religiously for like a week. And Dave, I got it in a week.
Nice.
I was like, whoa. So, because I was practicing like every day, like 5 times a day. Like I would just boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And then I started writing songs. Like I was actually writing like little songs when I was like 8 or whatever, like on the piano, like
Yeah.
you know, and that was it. And then yeah.
I love that one.
Not that iconic one, no.
Okay. Do you remember any of the songs you wrote from when you were 8?
No, not when I was 8, but when I was like 11, I had this crush on this dude. And then it's like all emo and sad. It's titled Never Love.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's with G, E minor, C, and D. So, you know, those are the chords. And then I was learning some more chords, and then I got lessons when I was like, maybe 13.
Yeah,
because I started playing guitar when I was like 10. And then I like started real lessons when I was 13 or 12. Okay. And he showed me Hotel California.
Okay.
We started learning bar chords, and then he kind of lost me when it went into the whole scale thing, and I was like, eh.
Yeah. Well,
which I'm kind of sad I did that to myself. I really should have pushed myself to like learn my scales more than I did, and like lead and everything, because I don't know, I'm not good at that aspect of the guitar yet. But I did create something that I can't tell you guys about for an artist.
Wait, what?
Okay. And you guys probably know the artist, and she's collabing with somebody with like stop motion stuff.
Okay. So, whoa. You created a lead guitar riff or a tune? Like this is...
I like created something you wouldn't expect that I would like write. Well, I guess you could. You probably be like, song. Oh, I could see Lea Marra like doing that. But like, it's an instrumental piece, so like that was kind of hard for me.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to hear that. What's it?
Yeah.
Is there a drop date on that?
Nope. I can't tell you anything. Nothing? I didn't say anything.
Fair. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it that one song that's like... Yeah, that one. That's a great one. I'm glad you made that into an instrumental.
For a second, your like computer, your laptop cover, I know it's a Ninja Turtle, but it also looks like that worm from Star Wars. Everyone's gonna be like, what the heck?
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Him.
I guess I can see that, seeing that I had to balance my phone like back so you can like see my face, and like it wouldn't fall over. But yeah, so I can, but seeing what you can see, I can see how you can see that. What?
Yeah.
Good podcast material.
Like if it's like a quick glance, it's like, oh, hey.
So where did you take? Was it a local guy? Was it a guy that was playing bands like that you learned Hotel California and the bar chords from?
Yeah, he was just the local guitar teacher. I actually went to Menor. I went to the city to learn guitar. Quotations, the city.
The city. Well, what was like, I guess that, you know, being where you're at, that is kind of like, because the first show we did together was a barn show. And like, I remember that was... Was
it?
Yeah, that was... Because I met you at that show you were doing with Gaw, because Gaw was one of the first friends I made at CSU. And she was playing, so I'm like, I'll pop in. And then from there, we connected, and you hit me up to play this barn show, which is where I met like that whole crew, like All Is Harvest and Brandon Postman, and the Thick Kevin crew, which if they don't go by that, they should. But that show in particular kind of blew my mind. I remember at the time Cody was playing with Wanyama, so it was hard to get him to do like shows and like a barn show. And I remember like it was a Halloween thing as well.
Yeah, it was. I was like on Halloween or the day before Halloween.
Yeah,
because I put that on. Like I had that. I don't know. I was like, I came back and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to start putting shows on as well as the festival with Love Fest. So I was like, I got to find a barn. And so I was in search of a barn for like a long time. And I was like, why is this so hard? They're like everywhere over here. So then Ryan Labenthal, who's in Thick Kevin, he offered his barn. And so he like decorated it and he did a lot for it. And I got bales of hay from like a local farmer and corn stalks and made it all cool. But that was a cool show. That was fun.
That was a really cool show. Like that blew my mind because one, it wasn't just like a barn, it was like a house. It was like it's better than some houses. Like it's better than my house. This barn was like so decked out. It had everything. And the way you guys ran it, you had like a door person, you had like a bar person essentially, you had someone like work in the fridge, and then you go into this room, like this garage of this barn, and there's a stage decked out, and I forget who was running sound, but I remember he did a bunch of like electronic stuff. I can't remember who that is now. Doesn't matter. But whoever's running this, or maybe it does. I don't know. Come back. But and even just talking with them, everything was so well done for this barn show.
Oh, Cody Adams.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was running the sound. I got him to do it for us.
That blew my mind how well put together this barn show was, and how great of a turnout, and how that was my first time seeing really, because I saw you play by yourself, and but that was my first time seeing all these acts from like Chardon in that area, and like how like amazing everyone was. And I was like, what the where am I? And like
Dave.
No, for real, like and I remember Brandon cracked me up because he was like decked out like the Up character, like the band he was with was all like Disney characters, and like everything about it was like such a Twilight Zone experience. I was like, this is insane. It was just so put together. And like what I kind of wanted to ask was, by bringing that out, when you started playing with a group, a side note, Joe's an amazing drummer. That stuck out in my mind that night too, like just how good of a drummer he was. But like when you started playing shows in Chardon, being that it's kind of like its own like area and it's kind of far from everything, and like how you're saying Menor, it's a city. Is it like, did you kind of start just developing your own shows and making your own scene, or did you kind of hop on, or?
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, pretty much, because the only place we would play in Chardon as the Tom Katlees was this place called Brewworks, and it was a brewery and a restaurant, and we knew the owners, and they started live music. So that was like the only place that had live music by us. So we started putting our own shows on at their place, and they loved it. And we would bring in Cleveland musicians sometimes, whoever wanted to make the trip out. And it was really fun. It was really cool. And then they closed up. But we did, we tried to play around Cleveland too. We didn't try to just stay at our own hometown. But that's all we really knew when we were younger. Like,
For sure. Being
a kid in Chardon, you don't really know too much of what's going on in Cleveland.
Was it what? That's kind of badass and like punk rock in a way, that you made your own scene and you just kind of started your own thing. And like, did that, because we've talked about Love Fest a little bit through this interview, but haven't like brought up what it is. But did doing those shows kind of inspire the festival, or were you doing this fest kind of before or was that just like a goal you had?
So this is kind of crazy. So it was the summer I came back from college, and we knew these two guys, Justin and Josiah Majetic, and they were brothers, and they were like the homeschool kids. They were like the hipster kids, around in the next town. So they would put on this festival called Love Fest, and they created it, and they thought like, well, we'll just bring our friends around, and like we'll have a potluck, and like we'll have information about mission trips, and like we'll just have a bunch of bands play, and we're gonna do it in the square. So they just like put it on, and like without permission pretty much, which was funny. And then like
punk rock.
yeah, and people would play, and then I played by myself 1 year with Brandon's sister, Ashley Karsick.
Brandon's sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that was like great, and that was like my senior year. It was going to be the last year, because the next year I came back, my senior year of high school. So then I came back from college from freshman year, and I went to their release show in this church in this town called Newberry, which is next to Chardon. And they put on their show, and they were talking, and they're like, yeah, we don't think we're going to be able to put Love Fest on this year. We're moving. They're moving somewhere. And we're like, oh, no. Brandon and I were like, this cannot not happen. So then we're like, well, you want to try to put on a festival and like just for kicks? And I was like, sure, like, let's just try it. So we did, and it was a learning experience. So it was in August, and it was rainy, but we had a bunch of different people play. We had at least 10 people play. We had a little acoustic stage and a main stage, and that was really all the festival, all that the festival was. And then there was like some face painting we put on the table, and like some bubbles and stuff and chalk, and that was like it. Yeah.
And that was the first one, and it was still in the square, right?
That was the first one I did, yeah. And that was still on the square. And then I just kept going. And then Brandon's like, yeah, I'll just kind of.
Brandon, he does so much stuff. Like, he dives into so many other things. I can see him, doing a new adventure. But that's cool. I didn't know you and him started that, or started the rebirth of that. So the original guys that were running this fest, they only did it a handful of times? Or was this something that happened?
They did it about, I think they did it twice or three times. And then everyone loved it. And they brought in so many people because they knew they had the inner homeschool kids circle. Gotcha. So, like, they knew people from all over the place.
Yeah, they're ahead of their time, especially with the quarantine thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right, for them, this has got to be an easy adjustment. You know what I mean? They're, like, used to calling their friends and doing this type of bit. So what stuck out to you during that festival that made this, like, this is an amazing thing that I can't let die type deal? Was there, like, was it just...
It was, so this is the moment where I was like, shit, this is awesome. Yeah. So actually, ironically, the Tom Katlees were playing at Brewworks. So I played the festival real quick. Then I went across the street and played with my band. And then after that show was over with, I like walk outside, and there's like a bunch of kids. Like, we were all in high school. So it was this huge congregation just around this stage, and the sun, it was like a beautiful sunset, like pink and orange. And then like this band was playing, and they were called a minor bird. And I think they were from Canton. And like their music was just like perfect with the sunset. And I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like, it was just such a great moment. I was like, this can't, So then when I heard that they weren't going to be able to do it anymore, I was like, no, this still has to go on. So many people love it. Yeah. And want to do it. So.
Well, that's awesome.
And there's really nothing like that around here, on the far east side that goes on like that.
Definitely. And you've been able to grow it and get more people from Cleveland involved, and it's been a thing that happens every year. And each time, because I forget which one I played, what number it was into you doing it, you know what I mean? But I remember last year I finally got my band to show up.
Yeah.
But like, I played a few of them before, and even just like as someone coming from Cleveland and going to it, I wasn't sure what to expect. But just like the barn show, it was amazing. It's this insane turnout with all these things and all these moving factors, and it was just like it blew my mind. Like again, just like how well put together it was, and like that. So that's cool that you're able to take that step up from where they left off, and that it's still happening.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it going as much as I can. Because it keeps growing every year, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, like this was Love Fest." I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Last time we were here, there's just like a little tent of something and bands playing, and now there's like all these vendors and food trucks and hands-on activities to do, and a little kids section, and plus the bands."
Yeah. Had to take more permits and more paperwork and more meetings and a lot more planning. So, but you got a team with you now too,
Correct.
Right? It grew from just you and Brandon to I think, is Paige involved, or is she just a vendor?
Paige was involved. She was our art director. But now Brian, why can't I remember Brian's last name right now? Sorry, Brian.
It's quarantine brain. Everyone's got it.
Wow, it's gone. Oh, Brian Shea, he's our art director now. And I have a team that we're looking to expand too. So if anyone's interested in becoming on a team or a board member, let me know, because we're a nonprofit.
Lovefest.org.com.
Oh yeah, go to chardonlovefest.com, and there's a tab under volunteer, and we'll connect you. This year we can't make it happen because of the circumstances, but we might be doing a virtual thing. Haven't figured that out yet. So stay tuned.
That'd be sweet.
But next year we're looking forward to it and hoping to make it even bigger, as we always are trying to do, for like the unofficial 10th year that this year would have been.
So it's the oh man, that sucks. I didn't realize that.
Come up with something, Dave.
Yeah. It'd have to be it's got to be like 10.5. I don't know. The real 10.
Yes, the 10.5
I remember
annual.
I remember the first Love Fest, I played a pre-show that I got involved with, which was in a playhouse, which is in that little downtown area, which I thought was so cool. And like the fact that you can get shows in there, and like I remember for the next couple Love Fest, or maybe it was just that one, like the main acts would close out the night like at 10 or 11 in there, which I thought was a really cool way to wrap up the fest. Was that like always an option, or how'd you get like that's sick?
So that was 2017 is what you're talking about. That we were thinking of a rain option, and we had some difficulties persuading the theater to allow us to come in and play music
rock and roll
past their time that they wanted to go home. So they allowed us, and we had to do some compensation, but yeah, that was a good alternative, because we were like, well, we're not sure if we're gonna use it or not, and it started raining.
Yeah.
So, and then everyone started freaking out, and the sound guys were like, my equipment. So, even though they understand the circumstances of an outside festival, so we like, it's just so funny because everybody comes together like that, and I'm like, okay, go grab that speaker, go get it now, we're going to the theater, and like we're just like charge into the theater, and it just somehow happens, and like I don't even know what happens. I'm like, I can't even feel my legs at the end of the day because I'm just like going everywhere.
Well, when you're running something like that,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's got to be like a toll. By the end of that, you're done for the week. You're like, I'm out. Call me next week.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole year
it was it was Brian's first Love Fest last year, I think so. Yeah, and he was like, are you like tired? I was like, Brian, I'm eternally tired. Eternally now.
Hibernating.
Like it doesn't go away.
Just that there's like maybe a year or something gone every Love Fest. Man. So
but man, like when I was like 19 running it.
Yeah. Different story. Did that kind of like...
Different story. You know, once I hit like 24, then I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling it a little bit.
Is this what old people feel? Jeez.
I know. I was like, holy moly, my legs are killing me. And like my my executive assistant, she's like, are you okay? I was like, can you just carry me?
Did she carry you?
No.
Oh. That'd be awesome if she just like picked you up. All right, let's go. Whoa, you are now not executive. You are or assistant. You are executive.
Yes. It's fun. It's fun. But towards the end of the night, everyone likes to disappear, and then you're just stuck with cleanup and a few stragglers.
Yeah,
so we're trying not to make that happen.
Fair enough. Rope it off.
Bribe them.
If you help me carry, where are you going? I thought you wanted to hang. Oh, you just didn't want to help. Okay. Did you notice like maybe the same effect kind of with songwriting with age? Did it become harder or easier for you to write songs?
Yeah. No, yeah, it does become harder for sure. I think it's because I learned more though about music and the theory behind it. So it became less, I guess organic is the right word to say. Yeah. But like it just hasn't, it's not as easy as it was before because I feel like I wasn't judging my songwriting, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, because there's just nothing to compare it to, really. You're just like, this is
it's
a thing I made.
Letting it flow.
And like, so, because I've been talking to a few songwriters, and there seems to be like this initial creative big bang per se, where everything's just flowing out and people are just making things, and some people keep those songs that they've written from that first period throughout their life. And like some people, a friend of mine who after that he kind of stopped writing, he was just like, I got nothing to say. And like it seems to be that people learn more and have more to compare it to and like have more to expect from it, which I think it's a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a bad thing to like really be critical of what you're doing and how it's turning out, especially if it's something you base your identity off of, you know? And like, I don't know. So that's interesting. Like with the Tom kind of skipping into songwriting questions, Tom Katlees, that's a guy, right? The cover that ground. There's a guy named Tom Katlees, or that's a real person.
Yeah, he's a real life guy, and he lived across the street from our first band member when we first were practicing, and he came in to the house and like started talking about the Browns and like threw money at us. Cool. So we decided to call our band the Tom Katlees, and then our merch was a mailbox because it was like that's where Tom Katlees lives. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And didn't you bring a mailbox to one of the shows, or wasn't that like part of your merch?
Yeah, that was part of the merch. It said Tom Katlees on it.
Yeah, okay. Did he?
And and the owl represented him because, like, I don't know. Joe would say not, but like I think he was more like a Boo Radley. Like you wouldn't see him out in town
watching.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool though. Like I couldn't with the owl thing. I didn't get it, but I remember at a show. Was he ever at one of your guys' shows? I can't remember.
No, I don't think so. He knew there was a band named after him though, and he's like, "Those darn kids."
He didn't like it, or it was just.
I guess not. I don't know.
Just names everywhere. Was it like identical to his actual name?
No, we changed it.
Aww.
We changed the spelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. So that name's always been along then. I thought maybe that was like in my mind, that was like when you guys and Alex started playing that I really like the name cemented from like your name to, okay. So that makes sense. But with the writing process for going into that, like you've been doing these virtual shows or these streamed concerts, and you've been doing one song from Tom Katlees, and it's got this like almost like Pearl Jam-esque vibage. I don't know. That's what I get from it, like chord
Oh,
progression.
you think Pearl Jam?
I
Really?
think Pearl Jam, yeah. I don't know what in my mind makes that connection. But what, like, when you went into writing for just being creative and having these options of this is all I can do type deal, and this is all I'm just going to express with these chords I know, to working more towards stuff with, like, when you started getting the group with Alex and other members, did songwriting become a process where you bring a song to the band and they kind of hack it out, or was it a joint effort?
It became a joint effort as soon as Alex joined the band.
Okay.
So Alex would co-write with me. We would co-write together, or he would bring a song. And actually, in that period of time, I stopped writing songs.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I just had a really bad writer's block because of certain things in my life that were going on. But, yeah. So he wrote a few songs on the album that we released, like in 2018. So that was different. And then prior to that, I would bring a song. But it's funny because now I'm getting more into like folk stuff with Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers, because I have banjo, I had accordion, and guitar, and violin, bass, and drums. So it's like a different arrangement. So I took all the songs that I wrote solo,
Yeah.
and like brought it to them. And I was like, as soon as the Tom Katlees broke up, I literally hit up Steve Perino and was like, all right, I would like to make a record. So how much is that? And
From Light and Attic, right? That's
what was that?
Light and Attic, Steve's label? Or is it something else now?
No, and I can't, oh my God, I can't remember Steve's label right now. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I remember he did some stuff with my friend Henry, and that's how I met Steve. And they had a thing called Light and Attic. I don't know if he carried it on, though. But
no, it's something new. But anywho, so the way this band formed now is like I sought out these strangers that I never played with before, and was like, all right, I know you play this instrument. Are you interested in, playing on this record and maybe doing some live shows with me and joining the band? And, I was just upfront with them and told them, like, you be doing all my songs. Like, it's going to be called Lea Marra and the Dreamcatchers. Like, are you okay with that? And they're all like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So I met with each one of them one-on-one,
yeah,
and went through the songs and did that. The only person I didn't do that with was Missy.
yeah.
So
she hopped on later or something, or
she hopped, yeah,
you've known
kind
her
of
from her other project, right?
Yeah, I knew her from the Willow Tree. So I got them all in the recording studio, except my guitarist now. Alex actually played the guitar on the record.
Yeah.
And
okay, cool.
Then everyone met each other through recording. And then Ming, good old Ming.
I'm gonna have a whole like series of podcasts just dedicated to Ming.
You should. So Ming was like, yeah, I'll record with you. And I was like, banjo players are hard to find. So I was trying to persuade him into joining the band.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't know, like, maybe, but, like, I can't say yes, but I can't say no, but, like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. So I was like, why don't you just come and record? He's like, yeah, I can record. So we met beforehand and, like, played on this park bench, which was funny.
That's
Never
cool.
met him in my life, and just whatever. And then he showed up to record, and we, like, got pizza and some wine. That was funny. But, like, just the event leading up to, like, now is just comical in my head.
Yeah.
Because, like, none of us knew any of us. And then the way Austin joined the band is he he was like called in by Steve, and I actually hit him up before, and I was like, hey, I'm starting a new project. I need a drummer. Would you be interested? And he's like, yeah, but like, are you still in Chardon? Would you be practicing out there? And I was thinking like, yeah, I was hoping to do that, you know? And he's like, no, that's too far. And I was like, okay, I understand. Cause he was coming from Sandusky. So then Steve, I was like, I need a drummer, Steve. Like, you know anybody? He's like, yeah, I think I do. You know, we'll get a studio drummer for you and you'll have to pay him, whatever. So I was like, okay, sure. And then it turns out to be Austin. And I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, oh, hey. And then he like thought about it and he's like, hey, can I join the band?
Nice.
And I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, everyone's on the freaking west side. So we'll find a place to practice in Cleveland. And we started practicing at my friend's house, which is really funny. And he was with 5 people.
Whoa.
And we like... we were in this like tiny room that was empty, that they had their music room and like no drums at the time.
Yeah.
And then we finally were able to get a practice space, and we share with Rubik's Groove and Apostle Jones and all those people. At an
undisclosed location that nobody can find.
Yes, undisclosed. No one is welcomed.
That's awesome. So this project, it's compared to the Tom Katlees, it sounds like you kind of went into it just writing and then bringing people into the project, or people wanted to join you with the original lineup of the Tom Katlees, and then expanded to like more joint writing, and then like it seems like it's almost kind of going back to the roots in a way where like you're doing this thing and people are joining you. So it's almost like at that kind of peak expression type thing where you're just kind of coming up with tunes and like everyone's hopping on to make the tune the best it can. And that kind of makes sense with like everything else you're doing with like this kind of leader role and like this organizer and like, which is a hefty role to be in, you know what I mean? And like to try
I have to be in control. No,
I'm not trying to put it that way. I'm not on the count of 3, our friends with OCD and but you're put like it almost seems like that's where you thrive type deal. Like that's where you're comfortable, and not to put it in terms of because you're in control, but in terms of like everyone's working towards one thing type deal. Because I've sat in a few times and like the play bass for your for a couple of your gigs, and it's never been like you're screwing it up type deal. It was a really relaxed atmosphere, and
it has to be relaxed. I mean, sure. I can't, like, who wants to play with someone that's like that? Like,
definitely.
But it's not fun, and then people get upset. So, it's gotta be like, if one of them, that's pretty much free of expression on their end too. Unless they like try to change my song completely, then I'm like, no.
Well, yeah, you're coming with like an actual, like an intention for like that you want to represent this thing, like whatever the song may be about or whatever it's portraying, like that, it's just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. You come in with that and everyone makes it sound cooler. But one thing I wanted to ask kind of more specifically about songwriting with you, because I'm generally a fan of your stuff from the Tom Katlees and to the new project. And with like the songs, when you come up with a tune, or at least when you're songwriting and you're in the zone of it, do you like, is it a music first, or is it a lyric first, or is it kind of a combination of both, like an idea that's in your head and then you use music to get it out?
So it's always funny because I feel like I never know, but I just recently have started writing a new song, and it's kind of the music first. Like I kind of have a melody in my head or something, and then sometimes, and then I'll start playing music, or I'll just start playing some chords, and then like a melody just comes out of nowhere. I can't really explain it. It just happens. Like I don't tend to force it.
Yeah.
It just kind of naturally goes, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then like lyrics aren't as easy as they used to be.
Yeah.
So back in the day.
Back in my day, we had the Zip Zam Zoobles, and those lyrics were flying off the shelf.
So I try to sit more with the lyrics and figure that end out. But yeah, I would say it's the music first. Actually, it's like so it's like the music and the lyrics at the same, like the music, then the lyrics.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So kind of a combination of both.
That makes sense. Because, like, I've talked to a few people, and with my own type of, like, a process of it, it seems like it's an idea of an expression, and you find the canvas, which is the music, to put the lyrical paint on top. But you got to have that, like, that layout before you can even do anything about it.
Yeah, because it's hard to write out lyrics for myself first, and then, like, try to force it into a melody or like rhythm that doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or didn't exist until you already wrote it.
Right.
And then you're trying to make this narrative you wrote fit to this now cool chord progression you came up with, you know? And then you just get stuck or something. And then it's like, where do you go from here? When you were writing as a group in the Tom Katlees, was it the same way? Was it like a... Because I've never really done writing with anyone other than myself, and some
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard when you're used to writing by yourself, to be honest. And I can't remember, but I think Alex agreed too. Like it was like a newer thing for him.
Okay.
As well, a little bit. I mean, he worked with some people, but. I mean, I don't know. So maybe not. But, like, we never worked together co-writing. So his style is so different than mine. So.
What's his process like a little bit? Musically different or? Yeah,
it is a little different. And I can't remember exactly. Like, my mind is fried. I'm sorry, Dave. But, like, he would literally just write the music. And then he'd just have me come up with a melody and lyrics. So that's how we co-wrote.
Okay, that's interesting. That kind of keeps that you now are delivered a canvas type deal.
Gotcha.
But that's an interest. That seems like the classic rock motif of, you know, one guy's assigned one job and another guy's assigned another, and it's a team effort type thing, which is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, or like one of us would bring a song in. But he wouldn't put lyrics to his songs. When he would bring them, because he would write them specifically for the Tom Katlees. So he wanted me to do
your part for it. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that seems like a really, like, as far as songwriting relationship, a good team effort. Everyone has a spot.
It was good how it worked out.
And like, so I don't know, that's cool. I was talking to Gretchen and Zach Friedoff, and they were talking about, yeah, we're still going, but they were talking about how they enjoy working with writing in partners or writing in teams. But I don't know, it's an interesting process for sure. Let's see.
It's still going.
Yeah, we're still going. I can still hear you. What do we got as far as what's come besides this mysterious instrumental? What else do you got in the works for the people coming out?
Well, I'm actually working currently on with some people possibly making an animated music video.
Yeah. For
one of the songs, and I hope it works out okay and I can afford it. So
is there any what tune is it going to be off the record?
It's going to be for Mud on His Shoes.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a jam.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. So that's something like while we're in quarantine that can happen.
Yeah.
And we have some shows that are can't be told either. But, you know, once this hopefully is over, we'll be able to play the show that would be cool.
Well, hopefully that pans out and that comes to fruition. Because when you've been writing new songs, like I like the one with you had the one with the mountain.
Oh yeah, I found my baby on the mountain.
Yeah, I don't know why it jumped there when you said there's gonna be like an Appalachian spike, and I'm keeping that.
Yeah, I just kept in mind. Anyways, go ahead.
No, that I caught that one in one of your streams, and I was like, damn, that's a good song.
Thank you.
You got a lot of cool stuff, at least brewing, new tunes coming.
Yeah, it's a lot more. The new stuff that I'm writing is a lot more folky.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense to fit the outfit you have now with all the instrumentation and like style of the group. Have you tuned into any of the virtual shows yet? Have you caught?
I haven't been able to yet. No, I'm horrible, but.
You're good. What is it? It's a crazy, like, it's an awesome experience. It's like you've been doing the stream thing, which is a cool experience, but like the Zoom, the uniqueness of the virtual show experience of that type of show is really like, it's a really amazing to kind of be with all these people and not at the same time. You know what I mean? Like when you're doing a stream, people clap, they tune in, tune out, you know, and you get like a lag, like right when you're done, you don't know if that angry face is actually because they're angry, or if they're just pushing all the buttons, or or that comment about my computer, if it was because of what I just said, or if it was something previous. There's a lag to it in the stream, but with the Zoom thing, it's right on the money, and like you get to see everyone else perform, and it's like this team effort, and it's like this little virtual community. It's a really cool experience. So I think you're gonna dig it, and it's gonna be exciting. Which is happening Friday, the 15th at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on it. I am really happy. Thank you, Michelle, for letting me be on it. Thank you, everyone else who is with Virtual Cleveland. It's an awesome idea. You know, like she came up with that so quick.
Yeah,
which is sweet.
I got a whole 48-hour style podcast of all going through like the steps of how it came together, and
wow,
it's so cool because like it just kind of this Northeast Ohio, like this scene that we're all kind of a part of, and like how it branches out and how everyone's lifting each other up to make it through this thing. Even like with the venues, like with the Negative Space thing, which you were a part of, which I couldn't be more thankful for. Or like they're doing some stuff for the Beachland now, and some stuff with the Grog Shop, and everyone's looking out for each other. And Virtual Shows is looking out for the players, and it's like, it's amazing all this good and all this love that is now visible because of these farting phones. And
sorry,
it's fine.
My phone is broken.
I'm gonna delete that one out. And all I keep getting distracted from it, but is now visible from all this. And like I think it's just when everything goes back to normal, it's gonna be just 100 times more. It's gonna be so clear how much everyone supports each other, even when they don't.
Yeah,
show up to the shows.
I feel that too. What was that?
I said even when they don't show up to the shows.
Right.
But it's all gonna be there. Nah. There's so much going on, you know. It's hard to touch base with everybody and support everybody. But this is a weird way where everyone kind of can, at least for like 5 minutes, you know, which means a lot.
Yeah. Well, isn't there a virtual show happening soon?
Yeah, there's one happening tomorrow with the Dream Masons.
Oh, well, then I might tune in.
What was it? Ba-boom. Anything, how do you feel about this interview so far? Is there anything you want to, is it good? We cover everything?
Yeah, I think that covers everything.
Is there anything you want to add in that we maybe didn't?
Not really, but tune in May 15th to Virtual Cleveland, and you know, get me those plays on Spotify.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug one of your tunes.
So I made a music video for Your Friends in October with like most of my friends and some other musicians, and Bobby Daggett from Bonnie Clydeman was actually played my boyfriend in the music video.
Star role.
And
he killed it, by the way.
And so the director he asked me if I wanted to like submit them to like a film festival.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure. So we submitted them to Portland and LA and to Nashville and
that's
for their
cool.
film fest. So we'll see if anything happens, but
That's awesome.
that's something.
I was talking. There's a local thing too. Some brewery does like a film fest thing where they'll like do music videos and stuff. The Dream Masons were telling me about that with one of their videos.
Nice.
So that could be another thing too for that. That's awesome. Because I was as a extra guitar player.
Yes, Dave was also in the music video.
I was the guitar player.
He was.
And your guitar player was a drummer, and like there was so much that shoot was so fun because it was so hectic at the same time. Like you guys were shooting like other scenes in other parts of the venue, and the band, Jarrett Tolley was there. He just hopped up. Everyone just started jamming, and like as someone who's like ran videos and like video shoots, it stresses me out whenever having to do a thing like that. And like I'm like, we're playing. They're trying to do a thing. What are we doing?
You guys evolved to. It was weird. I was like, what is going on? It was cool though. It was just so fun to film the whole thing.
Yeah, and then like when it came out so good, like I remember a couple days later, or maybe a week or two later, seeing the end product and being like moved by it. I'm like, this is so cool how this came out, and it's like a real thing, and my friend is an actual actor in here. He's doing this bit, you know what I mean? Like, this is sick. Like, I was blown away by Bobby. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I know, Bobby's such a freaking actor. What a superstar.
I know, as far as being a talented musician and like everything else himself, like I was like, I know for sure I can't act for shit. Like I can.
His takes were literally like he would get it in 2 takes or 1 take, and then like Cole would be like, "All right, Lea, your turn." And I'm like, "Okay," and like legitly, it would take me like 7 times.
You did good
like,
though too. I'm not trying. You rocked it too. It was like I wouldn't be able to do what you did either. Like, because I remember at the beginning, there's like a beginning scene where there was like a crowd or whatever, and like you were looking at him in the crowd before we were on the stage doing our bit, and we were also like audience members at one point, and like you were like you followed him and you walked off the stage, and even just like doing that was like believable. Like I would be cheesing the whole time, like I would not be able to take it serious, and like I don't know. So anyone that can do that, it's impressive.
It's a hard thing to do to make music videos, that's for sure.
It's a whole nother thing now, and like, but the guy you were working with, he killed it. He had such a vision for it. That was another thing I wanted to point out. I've never been on a music video shoot, quote unquote, where there was a guy with the clapper, the scene cutter, and who had a scene schedule. I was like, and one of my best friends has been getting into film, so I'm learning all this stuff while he's learning all this stuff, and like to see like someone actually do that, because I've done a couple random music video things, and like they're never like that. They're like, okay, go. You know what I mean? So like, to see like an actual production was really cool, and like the end result was awesome. So I really hope that picks up and gets into some festivals of some sort.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, we'll see. You know, keep everyone in the loop.
Cool beans. Well, thanks for hanging out, Lea. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.